Welcome back to Network Africa on Channels Television. Now, Sunday was Democracy Day here in Nigeria, and during his speech broadcast early in the morning, the president announced what he describes as the most ambitious social protection program in the country's history that seeks to lift many out of poverty, as 500 billion naira has been appropriated in the 2016 budget for social intervention in 5 key areas. He listed these to include job creation, a feeding program for school children, financial support for 1 million vulnerable beneficiaries, small-scale entrepreneurs and agriculture. President Buahri also highlighted efforts made at recovering the nation's stolen assets, as well as the necessary but painful measures at steering the economy from monoproduct to a diversified one. On the crisis in the Niger Delta, the president outlined plans to intensify cleanup operations recommended in the UNEP report, but he also warned militants and pipeline vandals against testing the resolve of his administration, promising that their leaders will be apprehended and brought to justice. Now, joining us for a brief analysis of the president's speech,
industrious, tolerant, patient, and generous.
President Buahri draws the attention of Nigerians to the nation's dwindling oil fortunes from $100 per barrel in 2010 to an all-time low of $30 when he stepped into governance. According to the president, infrastructure, notably rail, power and roads, were in a decrepit state. And to cap it all the 4 refineries were in a state of disrepair, while pipelines and depots were being neglected. That's not all. The president reminds Nigerians of debts owed, the Boko Haram insurgency, as well as the endemic nature of corruption.
Huge debts owed to contractors and suppliers had accumulated. 27 states could not pay salaries for months. In the northeast, Boko Haram had captured 14 local governments, driven the local authorities out, hoisted their flags elsewhere. Insecurity was palpable, corruption and impunity were the order of the day. In short, we inherited a state near collapse.
The president's speech did not dwell on woes alone. He has plans to revive the nation's economy by particularly addressing problems associated with the foreign exchange and fuel shortages.
Our plan is to save foreign exchange by fast-tracking repair of the refineries and producing most of our fuel requirements at home. And by growing more food in Nigeria, mainly rice, wheat and sugar, we will save billions of dollars in foreign exchange and drastically reduce our food import bill. We resolved to keep the naira steady as in the past. Devaluation had done dreadful harm to the Nigerian economy.
Poverty is another key issue that Nigeria's #1 citizen says is being rigorously addressed.
In this regard, 500 billion naira has been appropriated in the 2016 budget for social intervention programs in 5 key areas. We are committed to providing job creation, opportunities for 500,000 teachers and 100,000 artisans across the nation. 5.5 million children are to be provided with nutritious meals through our schools, feeding programs to improve learning outcomes, as well as enrollment and completion rates.
Joining us now for a brief analysis of the president's speech yesterday is Channels TV's political correspondent, Sheung Okinbaloye. Thanks, Sheung, for joining us. Well, it's been a year since President Buahri took mantle of leadership, and in his speech yesterday, he has described it as a year of triumph, consolidation, pains, and achievements. What do you make of this?
Yeah, first and foremost, we should ask ourselves, we've been waiting for 29th of May We waited for the 29th of May 2015, so we were all waiting for 29th of May 2016. It's the first year. It's significant for this government because you remember what happened. PDP was at the helm of affairs for over 16 years. So this is the very first time an opposition party is taking over in Nigeria, in our democracy. So it's significant. So we want to hear the very first speech of the president of Nigeria from a former opposition party at the very first time. So it was significant in that sense. So there are a lot of expectations that Nigerians will have. First and foremost, one of the expectations will be some of the content of the speech. We are in a dire economy situation in Nigeria. So a lot of people will be looking for words that are inspiring, the kind of words that you get from a father, the kind of words you get from a leader in this kind of economic situation that we are. And so those are some of the expectations. Some of the expectations also was one of the things that the president said when he was in the United States, that in the United Kingdom, that when he comes back home on the 29th of May, that he was going to make a mention or give a list of looters, those who have looted the treasury, and he's going to list just how much the government has been able to recover from corruption and all of that. Also, a lot of people will be expecting, because in the last weeks, we've seen Niger Delta, attacks in the Niger Delta on oil installation. We've been hit by so many attacks from the Niger Delta Avengers taking responsibility on these attacks. So those are the expectations. But what do we make of this speech? Does the speech address some of these issues? Yes, partly, but no in some sense. A lot of people are expecting that that speech...
Okay, now, let me come in here. Do you agree with the president that, you know, we're on the right path, like everything is okay? Do you agree with the president?
Well, two things. Here is the fact that there's a particular year for this government is either a year of nothing or a year of planning. To a large extent, there are successes that have been made in some areas, but there are a lot of concerns that are raised based on some of the new developments that are coming, which is giving this government some challenges. So, well, are we on track in some areas? Yes. Are we on track in some other areas? Are we getting it right? I think is an issue that this government really needs to talk about on the issues of economy. He mentioned, he talked about the devaluation of Naira, how he wants to stabilize the economy. He gave reasons for the fall in oil price, make comparison from other African or other oil-producing countries and the reason why we're experiencing these challenges. It took almost 6 paragraphs to talk about the past administration and how things went bad. I guess Nigerians are tired of that. Nigerians are looking forward to what exactly they want to get in the coming years. So if it took almost a page or 2 pages out of the 6-page speech that he gave to talking about how bad things were and how that is influencing on what is happening right now, I guess it's going to be tiring for so many Nigerians who by now are either looking forward to how they're going to be eased of the hike in oil price, the hike in price of food in the market. What they are expecting is words of inspiration and words of hope that things are going to get better.
Now, talking about the expectations like you were talking about earlier, do you think that he proffered solutions to any of these problems in terms of the economy and the situation of the country, like security, for example? Do you think he proffered solutions to these problems in his speech?
One of the areas that a lot of people will expect is the issue of in the Niger Delta. That those attacks will crumble our economy if they're not attacked headlong. Ask me, what kind of solutions are we supposed to be looking at? A military solution or a political solution to this problem? I think it's both ways. You cannot threaten too much on this kind of line. We've seen this happen so many times over and over, and we know just how dangerous this can be for our country, for our economy. But the fact remains that they should look inwards. This government needs to look inwards and look at the fact that you cannot have so much of military solution to these problems. You need to have some level of political solution to this problem. Look, this is how delicate this situation is. It's in the creeks, in the Niger Delta, much of water in these areas. These people know too well this terrain, and so when they are attacking, you need to listen to them. Insurgency all over the world is aggravated by reasons of dissatisfaction from sectors in the society. But then, do you use force at every time? No. You use it, you gather intelligence, you are able to come together, to put people together, make policies that will directly or indirectly affect them to calm their nerves. We've talked about amnesty program before now. Are we going to be looking at amnesty again? These are things that the government needs to, I think they really need to set up a committee to look at the new rise in attacks in the Niger Delta, which is very key. That much, we did not see so much of that in, but exactly what he said is that he's going to launch the UNEP report. And the other thing that he said that is very strategic, which I want us to take note of, is this. The president said, the problems Nigeria faced over the last year have been many and varied, but the real challenge for this government has been reconstructing the spine of the Nigerian state. The last 12 months have been spent collaborating with all arms of government to revive our institutions. It just summarized what this government has been doing the last 12 years. Yes, indeed, Sheil.
Thank you very much for joining us on Network Africa. I'm sure there's a lot to be said, but of course, we just have to end it here. Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah. When we come back on Network Africa, the Ramadan is approaching and Egypt's Muslims are worrying about the hike in food prices. Do join us again.